Welcome back to Power Breakfast here on Citizen TV. Time for us to have a health talk. You can never get too much health, right, in your lifestyle. So this morning we're going to be talking a little bit about managing your food intake. If you're looking to maintain or, cut down on your weight, counting calories, is that a thing that you're into? We'll have a discussion with nutritionist who's here in studio with me, Eunice Murithi. Karibu sana. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Nice to be here again.
Yeah. So let's talk about food, because on Wednesdays, usually we do like a workout session. We, call it Workout Wednesdays, but it's also important to incorporate the food component of it, the diet aspect, because sometimes when people start, a weight loss journey, they think, I just need to go running. I just need to get to a gym. I just need to lose, but they're not actually taking into account what they're eating, right? So first of all, why is it so hard to manage our food intake in this day and age?
There are a lot of, the issues regarding food is complex in the modern world, not like the olden days. There were no TVs in the olden days, and media has a very huge role as far as influencing masses on what is good, what to take and what not to take. Then there is also internet. Then there is also accessibility, that if you want something, you can get it.
Yeah.
And of course, those olden days, some of these things were not available. And that is why you are saying obesity is slowly catching up with the third world countries. There before it was like a Western thing. You would hardly walk anywhere and find somebody who is overweight. But today, people are grappling with weight. And much more so younger people. There are times in life that weight just catches up with people when the metabolism goes slow, like from 40 years. But these days, you see younger people below 20, they are already overweight. So it means it will be a lifetime thing. Until right now, the WHO is discussing about something known as globesity, meaning a global phenomena of overweight people, which have very serious health implications.
Exactly, certain diseases that we know of that are associated with people being overweight or obese. I mean, the basic science of this all is that if you want to lose weight, you eat fewer calories than you're burning, right? But maybe we can define what a calorie actually is, because there are people who are counting their calories and examining every single thing that they eat, but there are others who aren't really aware of what a calorie even is.
Thank you very much. A calorie is what is broken down finally when you eat food to heat the body and create energy.
Right.
And for purposes of maintaining and sustaining life. If you did not have calories like this morning, it would be hard for us to sit here discussing, because you would feel on a low note, because the energy required for even thinking, articulating, and just presenting yourself is needed on a daily basis. Now, people need different calories depending with the kind of work they are doing, their height also matters, and gender. A man would require between 2,500 to 3,000. A man of a medium height, but shorter men would require between 2,000 and 2,500. Women would do well between 1,500, 2,000 for medium height people, and for taller to 2,500. But you realize it is as far as it gets. The modern diet, you can in one sitting have a snack. Like if you walk into a shop and get like these milkshakes and you have it with just another snack, you have already blown up half the calories you need for the day.
In just that one sitting.
In just one sitting. And I would say something about calories. When the body gets much more than it requires for its own survival, integrity, and function, it will convert the rest into fats. And it will convert the rest into fats because it may maybe sometimes realize, maybe tomorrow you'll not eat. It will keep on storing and storing. And there are some parts of the body that are favored by fats.
Tell us about that.
They favor, in women, it favors around the thighs, the feet, and then there is also the central fat. what we normally call central fat is actually the belly fat. Then you have some on the upper parts of the arms. And all those parts, accumulating is very easy, but losing is very hard.
Yeah.
And we can look at the reasons why, even when you go to work out, you go to gym, you work very hard, and you realize as soon as you stop, it keeps on accumulating. It's because 80% of weight is caused by diet.
Wow.
So unless you address the diet, then which is not, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, of course. Now, eating more calories than you need consistently over time, that is what leads to weight gain. And like
yes.
you said, it's much harder to lose that weight. We've seen people, you know, I've talked to gym instructors who say women come in all the time and saying, I want to lose my stomach. What exercise do I do for my stomach? But it's not that simple, because you cannot target one specific area of the body. Now you need to start a, you know, cardio program and weight training and incorporate everything like that. So if I'm paying attention to what I eat alone, is that going to make me lose weight? Do I need to supplement this with exercise? You know, is it just, can I just do a food-based program and lose weight?
There is something I need to say. Exercise is part and parcel of a healthy person. So it is not actually anchored on weight loss. It should not. It's for well-being.
Yeah.
It's for the purpose of remaining active. Because if, like people who work in offices, you spend all your life sitting down, now science is telling us that you will affect your bone structure because you're just seated in one position. So exercises should not be anchored on weight loss, because people think that they are only needed for weight loss. Diet also is part and parcel of maintaining proper weight. Let's not forget there are people who are undernutrited, who don't eat well, who have moved from one extreme to another. They just walk into there are so many people who are dealing with weight, and some don't have the right information, and they move from one extreme of obesity to the other part of anorexic. They are afraid of every food. Here we can discuss about how you can live freely without much worry, because also you realize it's also not easy every day to wake up and count the calories. That one is ridiculous. Nature has already filled that gap for us. Why? First of all, foods that are high in fiber create satiety. Satiety is that feeling that you have already have had enough, and therefore that controls the amount of food that we eat. That is first thing. Nature actually provides a lot of these things. And how do we go? Now, if you have a meal and it has more vegetables, vegetables have got a kind of fiber that does not mix well with intestinal juices. And therefore it tends to kind of swell, kind of create a bulk. That bulk makes you feel you have already had enough. But if somebody else have a meal without vegetables, they are actually to keep on eating and eating and eating until they feel like they are stressed up. That's when they realize they have already overeaten. And the other myth that carbs actually have more calories is not true.
Yeah, we've seen in recent years people going on no carb diets, saying that carbs are the problem here. If I eliminate that from my diet and just focus on protein and vegetables, I'll be fine.
Now, we need to talk about what carbs are. There are good and bad carbs. All the polished carbs are not good for health. Why? For example, look at this bread. This bread is white. One slice of white bread has between 70 and 100 calories. So, if you add something, there is an additive, there is a butter or margarine, it will come to 170. So if you have like 4 slices, and then you have with a cup of tea, you have already had like, if you are a lady, you have already had like almost half the calories you need.
For the day.
And then during break time or during snack time, you go and get, maybe you have a bun like this one with some other additives inside. By lunch time, you have already eaten what you should have had. Then you go sit on a table, have maybe fried chicken with the fries for majority of people in towns. That one in itself costs of oil. And for that potato being deep fried it adds now the carbs to extremes. For example, if one would have some potato that is cooked normally in Kenyan way, or roasted or even baked, you can't eat more than 2 potatoes. But when you fry them, you can even eat 10 in one sitting.
That's true.
That is what goes wrong. When carbs don't have fiber is where the problem starts.
Yeah.
But when they are naturally occurring, the nature already has an answer for almost everything, because the body is controlled on the intake of food.
Yeah, so for people who prefer to have like sweet potatoes or the ndoma for breakfast, obviously that's someone who's having a healthier diet than someone who's eating bread with butter. Is the carb intake the same in those two situations?
It won't be the same, because bread has, you know, when it is baked, for example, sorry, let me go a little bit. When you do chapatis at home, it's very different from buying bread. Bread will have all other additives to sweeten it and to make it palatable and to preserve. So it is not the same as eating wheat that you have already prepared for yourself. So the cooking method also will vary from one stage to another. But generally, having a sweet potato, you'll have fewer calories than when you'd have like this bread we have just discussed. Because that one, and again, you cannot eat a whole sweet potato. You have few pieces and a bit of protein, and you feel you are ready for the day. Yes.
I want to talk also about balancing your calories throughout the day. There are people who have a very big breakfast and then don't eat for the rest of the day. Some people skip breakfast, eat many calories later on in the evening or before they go to bed. How does that affect how your digestive system deals with all this?
Thank you. There are 2 things that can go wrong as far as actually weight loss is concerned. For people who like eating heavy dinners and late, you are having your last meal, chicken, curry, and a very serious meal at that.
You know, I've worked hard all day and deserve this.
You need to reward yourself. That one in itself slows metabolism, because at night we require very little energy for the body's housekeeping duties. And there is another extreme of people who don't eat breakfast. When you also don't eat breakfast, your body starts on a low note, and therefore it goes on preservation. And that affects metabolism in the long run. So the idea is not to overeat, it's to have moderate, to be moderate. Moderate breakfast, moderate lunch, and a little bit of dinner. But don't say, I will put all my meals in the evening or put all my meals in the morning, because that will still affect the body energy production. And that one ultimately will slow down the metabolism, and that one also affects our weight in a very big way.
Right.
Yes.
For people who have incorporated exercise as part of their weight loss or weight maintenance program, there are people who will, for example, go to the gym, get on a treadmill, count how many calories I've burned in this 1 hour, let's say, I don't know how many, 300 or something, and say, okay, that's given me leeway now to leave here and PTR my favorite fried chicken place, and I eat because I've just burned it. So that evens out. What would you say to someone who has that mindset? That one is very interesting, but I will tell you that is where all the mistakes start. For example, I have this, this is called a Fitbit, it's a health monitor. The best I've ever done, and that is generally, I'm not very active, but I'm not also adaptive. I'm a moderate active person. I burn between 400 and 600 at my very best. Calories.
Yes. But if I go sit down again, have a milkshake, for example, and then I have it with a snack, maybe a cake or something, I have already defeated what I have done. So it will be a kind of a roller coaster. You are going up and coming down, going up and coming down. Maintaining is very, very good. However, it is not also logical or reasonable to make people be afraid of everything they eat. What we normally say is that there are things that you do as once in a while. If somebody goes and have a cake, maybe once a month, that one is not the same as a person who takes a snack of a cake every day. So there are foods that we tell people, improve on this, improve on intake of vegetables and fruits. 5 servings per day is good. Improve on natural carbohydrates. Improve on maybe plant-based proteins like legumes. And you'll see with the time, the weight naturally
When you
sorts
talk about
itself.
natural carbohydrates, what are you talking about there?
I'm talking about carbohydrates that are not polished.
Not processed.
They are not processed. It means they have preserved as much as possible the grain, they have the fiber, the oil part of that grain, because you realize the component of a grain are 4. And this is what majority of time we remove and give to cows. You know, like what we call maize germ?
Yeah.
Maize germ is the healthy part of the corn. That is what we now mill and give to cows. If we can go slowly and as near to the original as possible, that is very, very important. Remember, our forefathers used to eat the same foods, but weight was not a problem. And actually, even in areas that like people consume a lot of millet, cassava, sorghum, they don't have weight issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
The weight problem is for people who live on simple carbohydrates. It's where even in rural areas where people eat a lot of potatoes, they eat a lot of rice, they eat a lot of uga ya dukani, that's where the problem of weight is.
Yeah.
And again, that is where now again diabetes is focusing on. So you can see there is a relationship between the types of carbs one eat and actually the overall health and the lifestyle diseases.
Right.
Yes.
When you talk about 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in a day as being recommended, I know people like myself who prefer the fruits. But I've been warned that certain fruits can have excess sugar as well. And, you know, there might be people who think, okay, maybe I stay away from the carbs, but I can eat as much, you know, of the fruits as I can eat as many bananas as I want, as many oranges, as many apples, because it's fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case, right? Well, talk about excess sugars and how to monitor those as well.
Thank you. Now, when it comes to sugars, there is one small good thing about fruits. Even if they have sugar, they are attached to a nutrient.
Okay.
If you take an orange like this one, it has sugar, it has some calories, but not more than 20, by the way, and it also has vitamin C. So that one, in that process, you are having a calorie as well as a nutrient.
Yeah.
However, it's good also to realize fruits have what we call soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is good, but for digestion, insoluble fiber is better, which is found in vegetables.
Okay. Okay.
So when you have a green vegetable and when you have fruits, you cannot say that fruit you take part of the fiber we find in vegetables. Then vegetables also have got other micronutrients that are not found in fruits. Because you know a fruit originally is a starch. Then later on it's converted into fructose and other sugars. But a vegetable naturally have other parts of the plant that a fruit will not have. And therefore it's good to moderate. Take both of them.
Yeah.
Fruits and vegetables every day. The greener, the better. And variety. Don't say like Kenyans, we talk about a one vegetable known as sukuma wiki.
Yeah.
We eat sukuma wiki day in, day out.
Yeah.
We don't even know that we grow broccoli in this country. We don't even know that there is lettuce. Lettuce, tunasema hiyo ni mboga ya wazungu. So if we could eat a lot of vegetables and salads, and salads need not become a very big issue. You can even, when you are preparing dinner, you can get carrot and a tomato, and just make kachumbari. Add a bit of dania. That is still very healthy. Add a bit of avocado. It is not reinventing the wheel. It's using what we have for health, and also try as much as possible to get our daily allowance of fruits and vegetables. Yes.
I want to take a look at some SMSs. I think if our director can get me some SMSs. If you have questions about how it is that you can manage your food intake or about counting calories, we will be taking some of those comments. You can just send an SMS to 22422 with your question, and I will get to that a little bit later on. An avocado like this one that we have on the table, how many calories is that?
The avocado actually is one of the fruits that are high in calories. Like this one, you have around 170.
Okay.
But you realize it also is very dense. An avocado is almost a whole food because it has proteins, it has vitamins, it has good oils. People say avocados add weight, they don't.
Yeah,
because they have naturally occurring oils. And then because of high oil content, you don't eat much. You have a problem finishing this avocado when you are hungry. Eat half of it. You will eat half of it and feel full. Why? Because of what we are talking about earlier on. That's satiety, the feeling of fullness, and that in itself controls weight.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also wanted to talk about portion control. And you said it has a name, particular name that you told me.
Yes.
In terms of, when you're setting up your plate, what percentage of what should be on the plate, of vegetables, of protein, of carbohydrates, well, because that's also a way of managing what you're eating.
Thank you. Now, because it is not possible to weigh, you would look ridiculous when you wake up in the morning with the weight scale. It is easy. When you set a plate on the table, just make sure 50% is vegetables.
50%?
Yes.
50%. Let me say that again. 50%.
Half of the plate is vegetables, kachubari, greens, mixed. Then you can have 35% complex carbohydrate, and then 15% protein.
Okay.
And you had earlier on talked about the ketone diet, the one people eat a lot of fruits, they eat a lot of vegetables and protein. Ultimately, at the end of the day, such a diet is not sustainable. And health in itself is not an event. You cannot tell yourself, for the next 6 months I'll be eating proteins and vegetables. You cannot sustain that. And again, what people confuse with weight loss when they have protein is because high protein diet causes dehydration. So that dehydration is what makes people think they have lost weight. But if you take sufficient fluid, a lot of water, you will not lose weight. And ultimately, too much protein diet will hurt your body organs. The body has got a structured way of eating. It requires only 15% for muscles and sustenance, and it will require the rest for fuel and for energy, for repair and other things. If we maintain that balance, we'll be okay. Yeah,
so it's about the balance.
Yes.
And, for me, I feel like also when I eat too much of one thing, it'll show up on my skin. I'll start getting some funny rashes or things like that, and I just know I need to slow down on either the protein or whatever it is that I'm eating. Let's see, a couple questions here. Someone is saying, I have had stomach acidity for some time and I tend to get hungry after meals. What food should I eat to control excess acid production and hunger pangs?
One thing, also, we were discussing about calories, but I would also mention the method of eating. Cooking food and eating are also very, very important. They determine whether you are going to absorb what you have already eaten to fuel the body. Overcooking of food is not very good. For people who have acidity, you find the majority of them overcook vegetables. And when you cook vegetables for a long time, they become acidic. Then there is also another aspect of eating. Having a liquid or maybe kitu ya kunywa together with food. That one kind of dilutes the gastric juices. And that in itself delays the transit time. And it will lead to that feeling of burning sensation. So it's always good if you have a problem with acidity not to have food together with a liquid, and also to chew properly, and to try and eat a raw foods together with cooked foods. Cooked foods tend to take longer while digesting. But when you take something that is raw, maybe a salad, that one controls the acidity in the gut.
Okay.
Yes.
Another question here from Sam saying, I eat githeri morning and evening in a bid to lose weight. Is there a problem with me eating this much githeri? But like you said, it's a natural food, right? We're trying to get more to the natural
food.
foods.
However, we cannot get all the nutrients we need from githeri.
Yeah.
We need variety. Yeah, I come from a background of githeri.
Yeah.
Githeri is good. However, you can't eat day in, day out. We need to, even you also realize, our body releases some chemicals we call enzymes when we are digesting. When you keep on eating one type of food, you over-exhaust that type of enzyme that breaks down the food. And that is why you find the majority of Kenyans have a lot of issues with almost every food. You can go to any function and find sikuli hin and I can't eat this, I can't eat that. And that is because of overeating one. If you're eating potatoes and mchele is day in, day out, you have to take variety.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's important. I'm going to take one last one here that says, someone says, I'm breastfeeding, but at 3 months I find that I've gained more weight than when I was pregnant. How do I watch what I eat and still get enough nutrients?
Yes. Of course, after childbirth, the hormone that creates milk is high in the mother produces a lot of it, and that one tends to hold fats. So you'll find women gain a lot of weight when they are breastfeeding. But after when they stop now, they gradually go back, but majority don't really go back. Most ladies will start having problems as soon as they have a child. It keep on accumulating. By the time they have their third child, now things have gone out of control. What I would say is that, as we have just discussed, it's good to control portions, and it's also good to take a lot of fluid, and also not to overeat. We tend to say when we have given birth, nakula yagu no, we need also to control. And of course, she needs also to do exercise, because if she sits for long at home, then she's not expending the energy she has consumed. It will be converted into fats, and hence the weight gain. Yes.
And one final thing I wanted to touch on in terms of how we manage our food intake. You mentioned you have a Fitbit. There are people who keep food diaries. These days there are apps that you can have on your phone to sort of keep track of what you eat, because there's some people who, once you keep a food diary, at the end of the day and you go and read everything that you ate, you might shock yourself and say, I didn't know that I ate this much, I didn't know I snacked this much. So what are the ways that you can recommend people who are trying to, keep track of things and calories and what they're eating?
Yes, it is good, even for I have seen, sorry, let me digress a little, even for people who are diabetic. I had a lot of diabetic cases. And when they keep track, they become familiar with what spikes the sugar. Okay. And therefore, you get a control of your life. However, that is the side of it. It's also not very easy to keep track of what you have eaten every day, every second. What you do overall is to improve. There is always the first step you take, and don't be too overambitious. When we're embarking on a plan, you find people moving from a point of low concentration to high. They just move from one extreme. They hit gym quickly. Within a month, I want to have done this. It's not possible. That, you have to take steps that gravitate towards well-being on daily basis, because health is a lifetime thing. It's a lifetime journey. So take one step at a time. If you are not taking vegetables there before, start taking vegetables. Increase your plate. Increase the amount of vegetables on your plate. Decrease others. And also decrease the size of the plate. If you go to shops today, you'll find very huge plate size of trays.
That's a good point.
And when you bring home, like to men, if it's a wife, you present the food.
You have to jazz that.
There are some hotels you go to and you see food in the middle of the plate, and you feel insulted because of the amount of money you pay. However, one of the basic rules of eating, use a smaller plate. because you say imejaa tayari.
Yeah.
But if it's still huge,
Utaendelea.
yeah.
Another thing that works for me is removing temptation from my house, because
Yes.
if it's there and I see it, it's an option for me. But if it's not there, and instead of substituted with fruits and, like you're saying, vegetables and salads and things like that, that's what I'm going to go to. So that could be another thing that someone...
yes, that is a very valid point.
Yeah.
That if you don't want temptation, then remove it, because we are still kidding nature. If you think biscuits are helping add weight, it does not. You don't tell yourself, I want to see how much strength that bravado, and put a lot of and say, I will not touch them. You definitely eat them.
Yeah.
You wake up at night, sleepwalk, and eat one
Right.
or two. So the rule of removing temptation, and also looking at when you go to the supermarket, read the labels. Some labels will help you know that there are a lot of hidden additives in foods that potentially, almost everything we add on food, you'll have a bit of sugar. And by the end of the day, you may hear people, I don't take tea, I take sugarless tea, but they take a lot of other added and hidden sugars.
Yeah.
It's always, it is helpful to look at what you are eating.
To read the labels as well. Well, thank you so much, Eunice, for talking to us about managing your food intake, counting calories, and trying to just be a healthier you by adding the necessary things that we need to add to our diet. I hope our viewers have been informed and educated. We're going to have a little bit more music before we wind up Power Breakfast for today, but stay tuned. Citizen Extra with Wahiga Mora coming up right after 9 o'clock. Good morning.